Thank you, Cindy. Just give me like a little wave when we're kind of in a time frame, because I...
Look to Judy.
Yeah,
Look
okay.
to Judy back there.
All right, perfect. Because I can talk about the fire company for hours. It was one of the favorite things that I could do.
Russ has a timer.
All right, I'm going to bounce around a little bit. I do it when I teach. I do it when I present. So I'm going to do it now tonight as well. I hate saying it still. A little bit of nervous energy, I guess. My name is David Majewski, for those who don't know me. I'm a junior, obviously. If you've been around town, you know my dad as well. I grew up in town. I've lived here my whole life, went to school here, church here, and I've been a member of the fire company now for just under 15 years. My dad was the fire chief, however, when I was born, so retro that another 15 years. I'm coming up on almost 30 years, around the fire department. So the Goodwill Fire Company, you see us all the time, I'm sure. You see us around town. We are a combination fire department. We have 8 career firefighter EMTs, 2 of which are career officers with us. They're captains. We have 24 part-time firefighter EMTs that work within our system. And then we have about 20 active volunteers that are supported by another 20 administrative or less active volunteers who help out with administrative things like that. We also have an office manager that is in the office about 9 to 2 each day. Takes care of all of our administrative needs, the stuff that happens during the week that everybody else is at work and there's somebody who needs to handle. So that's a little bit about our structure. We strive for 4 career firefighter EMTs on duty each day. That's an almost 24-hour operation now. As of May, it will be a 24-hour operation for all 4 positions. And then they are supported by the volunteer members, volunteer officers, things like that. We have myself as the chief, we have deputy chief, and then 4 captains. Like I said, 2 career, 2 volunteer. Administratively, we have a president, vice president, and then we have a board of directors who's led by the chairman. The board essentially takes care of all the financial needs of the fire company, financial planning, asset planning, things like that. In the community, what we do is, I'm going to say it's kind of obvious, but it's not. Yes, we go to fires, we go to rescues, we go to car accidents, we go to EMS calls. But being in town, we do a whole lot more than that. We are constantly in communication with Bill Barthel, City Administrator, Chief McCabe at Newcastle City Police, Pete Toner, the President of the Trust, and Mike Platt, President of Council, as well as the Mayor. We are constantly working with them to plan for new things, plan the future of the city, plan the future of the fire company. If there is an event in town, if there's infrastructure work in town, if there is something that's going to come up or could come up, we are somehow in the loop on that. Helping with planning, giving guidance, things like that. So we're all over, even when it's not an emergency per se. We're helping plan those incidents or plan those projects moving forward. You'll see us out a lot. You'll see the engine downtown or wherever out in the community. You may see them moving hose around. That's one of the big things they're doing right now is they're evaluating all of our, we call them attack packages, but our hose lines on our pumpers. So they're out, they're stretching hose lines, they're measuring distances, they're making sure everything that we use is going to work and work appropriately for the town. So you'll see them out. We have just purchased, about a year ago we purchased a new aerial tower ladder. So it is expected to be delivered in May. So you'll see us out a lot with that. There's going to be a lot of training hours. You'll see us out in the community all the time, day, evening. We try not to go too late at night just to respect everybody's time and the noise level and things like that. So we're going to be out. I think we're very visible out there. Call volume, we handle approximately 2,000 EMS calls per year and just under 1,300 fire rescue incidents per year. I'm going to say it's about average for medium busy within Newcastle County. There's departments that do much more than us, and there's departments that do much less than us, call volume wise. So we're kind of the happy medium. It's enough to keep us busy and steady, but not overwhelming. So that's pretty much us in a nutshell. I'm going to try to keep it under wraps. I don't want to go too far. Does anybody have any questions for me? No, that's fine. Absolutely. That's why we're here tonight.
Hey, neighbor. Do you do go into buildings, like come into the library, come into the restaurants and things like that with, some kind of program to assess their safety and,
So we do not, yet. We do not at this time. We have been working on developing a pilot program for life safety inspections. And either the captains or the senior staff on duty will take their crew out. They'll, obviously schedule with one of the businesses within our district, and they'll meet with them, and they'll just run through a life safety inspection. It's nothing that is going to initiate a fine unless it's some egregious charge or something like that. But it's just a life safety thing for us. It puts our people into whatever business it is. It puts a face to a name, and it allows everybody to be on the same page, and it also gives out information. So we'll be able to, once the program is completed, I'm sorry, I keep moving out of the camera. Once the program is, everything's built out and ready to go, they'll be able to meet, review fire extinguishers, exit plans, things like that. We did work with the Booth House to install an AED in their restaurant. We're also going to work with them in the future to do some CPR training. And then there's an app called Pulse Point that you can publicly mark an AED location, automatic external defibrillator, if someone has a cardiac arrest or goes through that, that we help them get set up with and registered in, and that AED is now marked in a public system that is accessible. I'm sorry, there was one question over here first.
I was just wondering if the call numbers you gave were for within Newcastle City or all calls that you guys have responded
So
to?
that's all calls in general. All our response area goes, our immediate response area goes outside the city limits. We cover areas like Castle Hills, Jefferson Farms, Stockton, Wilmington Manor Gardens, Penn Acres South. As you move south of town, there's Langolan Green, River Edge, River Walk, or I forget the new name of the place. But then as you work all the way down Bayview Manor, Pines of Bayview, things like that. So our fire district expands well outside the city limits. Essentially from, if you're familiar with roads and geography of the town, from Buttonwood Avenue on Route 9 south to Hamburg Road and out just before Route 13. That's our immediate response area. However, the way call response in Newcastle County is set up, we provide mutual aid well outside of that area. Holloway Terrace, Minquidale, Wilmington Manor, Delaware City, Christiana Fire Companies, things like that.
Thank you.
I actually have two questions.
Sure.
Talking about working outside the city limits, can you talk about funding, how Goodwill is funded?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
also, if there's funding that comes from outside areas? And my second question would be, what's the difference between the training and schedules of the volunteers versus full-time paid firefighters?
Sure. So, to answer your first question, as far as funding sources, the fire companies in Delaware are funded through the insurance tax program. So we get money from the state every year. It's a set number, and you get money for if you have a pumper, if you have a rescue or a rescue pumper, an aerial device like a ladder truck like we own, rescue boats, things like that. So you get a set number. The county has a mirrored program to that, so we also get funding from the county. And then Goodwill is one of the few fire companies that actually lives in an incorporated area. So with that, we do receive some funding from the city of Newcastle as well as the trustees of the common. And they help out with, just our daily operations and our staffing. So all that funding comes from, different sources. We also run a fund drive every year. You'll see there's 2 mailings that go out. I believe it's one in the spring and one in the fall. It's more of an administrative thing that I don't get involved in, but because there's people that handle it and they're good at it. But our fund drive, through the generosity of the community, generally generates about $50,000 in revenue for us that we input into our operation as well. The second part of your question, the difference between career and volunteer, there used to be a big difference, and we've completely broken that barrier, I think, to a large degree. While the career members have a set schedule that obviously they're supposed to be at work, we try to incorporate the volunteer schedule in as well. So we ask them to say, hey, look, you know, shift changes at 1800, you know, can you be here at 6 p.m. and, you know, be riding fire apparatus until 6 a.m. or whatever. We ask them to at least sign up for some type of shift. That way we know when they're gonna be there and we can account for when they're not. And we can make sure that we get other type of coverage in to round out that fifth person. Training wise, Delaware, with the exception of Wilmington, does not run like a big town, so, or a big city, so you won't see like a Delaware Fire Academy or a Goodwill Fire Academy or anything like that. We hire people who are pre-certified, and they a lot of times come from other volunteer or combination fire departments. If you join the Goodwill Fire Company as a volunteer member, we provide you all the training through the Delaware State Fire School. And all the same classes are required either way, with the exception of EMT. All of our career members are required to be EMTs. A lot of our volunteer members are EMTs because they work other places in Newcastle County, but you do not have to be an EMT. That is the one big difference. We do have a training requirement that each member has to meet each year. So they have to go through a live burn evolution. They have to have a fit test of their face piece and their mask, and they have to review all their self-contained breathing apparatus, so the big air bottle we wear. They have to have a current CPR and AED card at a minimum, and they have to they have to go through a vehicle rescue evolution. That way, each member's been hands-on in the primary aspects of our operation each year. They've reviewed our topics, or our SOPs and SOGs, our policies, and they're all up to date. Yep. Any other questions? Thank you very much.